Hello, welcome to Da Nang. As should be immediately obvious, I'm in the ocean. This is actually my only second time going in the ocean. I was in here yesterday too, so I've been going to the beach the last 2 days. I have like a beach bed way down there, and it's amazing because I'm quite a long way out into the ocean and my feet are still firmly on the ground, and most of my chest is still out of the water. So it's very shallow all the way out. It's perfect actually for swimming and just getting cooled off in the water. It's absolutely beautiful. It's very refreshing. It's extremely hot today. I had to sort of like sprint into the water because the sand was so hot on my feet. So I was like scampering along to get in the water. So just to give you an idea of the lay of the land, this I believe is Da Nang Beach. My An Beach is down there, which is where I live. So I'm about 10 minutes away from here. There's a big kind of like brown rounded building there. I'm just down that street, so I'm really pretty close. There's lots of other places to walk, to go on the beach along here where you rent a bed. It's like usually like 30,000-40,000, which is like $2 for the day. Not much. And you can buy drinks if you want. I just bring some with me, and that's fine. They don't mind you doing that. But yeah, I kind of just really like this particular spot for some reason yesterday, so this is where I've come back. It's really nice. So obviously I'm in the shade under one of those thatched umbrellas. So yeah, this is Da Nang Beach, and then of course Son Tra going further north, and you can see the Lady Buddha off there in the distance, and it's Monkey Mountain too is right there where you can see the monkeys. I still haven't rented a motorbike since I got back from Bali, and I don't think I'm going to, because the good thing about not having a motorbike is, first of all, this is a very walkable city, and it's just so great walking on the beach, and it's basically healthier. It's just good exercise not to be going on a motorbike everywhere. You just walk places, and sometimes it's a bit of a lengthy walk, but it's still better, I think, for now than getting a motorbike. Next week I go to Hoi An, which is down south this way, about half an hour, 40 minutes away, and I'm going to be there for 1 month. I'm not staying in the really touristy area. I'm staying in an Airbnb close to the beach overlooking the rice fields. It looks very scenic, very nice, very peaceful. So I just wanted to see what it was like living in that kind of environment for a few weeks before I go back to the USA and England. I'm still sort of trying to decide where do I want to live permanently. I really love Da Nang, and I really love the area that I'm in now, but it is a lot more westernized, and I'm just more curious to know what it's like living amongst a more local community. So I'm going to definitely experience that in Hoi An. And a lot of people swear by Hoi An. They say it's a wonderful place to actually live, but it's just not as big as Da Nang, obviously. But then Da Nang's only 30 minutes away on a motorbike, maybe 40 minutes, so it's not far if you need to come back here for any reason. So I probably will be doing that at some point once I move to Hoi An. Yeah, my feet are still on the ground, and I'm like way out here. It's incredible. I think this sandbank probably goes out to that yellow buoy over there, so it's possible to really walk out a long way. very pleasant. Occasionally a large wave rolls through. I went to a really cool bar last night called The Bunker, and it's just within about a 2-minute walk of where I live. And I went there with a friend called Mike, who is from England originally. He's actually half Indian, half Portuguese. I think he's from Goa in India originally, his family are. Extremely well-travelled guy who's lived in about 70 countries, I think he said. So he's basically hardly ever lived in England. But a really nice bloke, a little bit younger than me, not by much. So we went there together and had a couple of drinks, and then went for some coffee somewhere, and met up with this other British guy that we met too. But this bar was absolutely fantastic. It was like done up like a wartime bunker with gas masks and binoculars and a lot of artifacts, probably from the Vietnam War and maybe even from the Second World War. It was just so cool. I'll have to post some photographs on Facebook. And you know, you can just sit at the bar, and they had like pictures of Ho Chi Minh and Che Guevara, so it had this like revolutionary vibe to it. And you would never know it was a bar from the outside, because it really is like a bunker, and you get escorted in. You don't just walk in. They have to open the door for you, so it's almost like it's got kind of like a private club vibe. Apparently it's owned by an Australian who's presumably married to a Vietnamese, and he's apparently a big blues music fan, and they have live blues music there on a Monday night, which is tonight. So I think we're going to go back just to check that out at about 9 o'clock tonight. Check out some blues music played by an Australian with Vietnamese musicians backing them up in the band. That should be an interesting experience. Always enjoy some blues from time to time, so looking forward to that. So yeah, this is my last week here in Da Nang, and then I have to decide when I come back from England in late July, do I come back to Da Nang? I'm certainly flying back to Da Nang, but I have to decide, am I going to stay here for a couple of months before my next trip to the USA, which is going to be in September, or do I go somewhere else? And that's what I'm sort of like pondering. I want to sort of like use this opportunity of having that flexibility to go anywhere I want, to go and see new places. So one of the places I've thought about in Vietnam is Hanoi, but not the old quarter of Hanoi. I've already got some advice on places to stay, and there's a more sort of like local quarter close to the old quarter, but it's more of a local neighborhood, and I really like the sound of it. And so that's what I'm considering, going up to Hanoi and just living there for a month or so, just for a totally different vibe, a different feel. Of course, I went to Hanoi last year on my trip, but I wasn't there for very long. I was only there for like 2 days or so, but I really liked it a lot. And from there, of course, I went to Ha Giang and did the Ha Giang Loop on the motorbike. So it might be nice, just for out of curiosity, to go and see Hanoi in more detail and for a lengthier period. But then there's other places too that I might consider going. Of course, I don't have to stay in Vietnam. I can go to Malaysia or Indonesia if I want. So that's also a possibility. Oh, there's a paraglider. looks like fun. Yeah, so Hoi An, where I'm going next week, is down there, and you could, I think, theoretically, walk there on the beach. The beach goes all the way down to Hoi An. And apparently it's a very scenic ride too, on a motorbike. But I'll be taking a car, of course, because I'm going to have some luggage with me. But once I'm in Hoi An, I am going to definitely rent a bike while I'm there, probably for the whole month. Because where I'm staying is relatively isolated, even though there's like coffee shops and restaurants nearby. But if I want to sort of like go into the town, which I probably will occasionally, it'll be nice to have a bike. And then there's also a bunch of places to explore out in the countryside and the mountains around Hoi An. So I'm going to be doing that for a month. I'm going to have a bike, just a little automatic probably, just to give me some mobility. And also the place I'm staying, it's an Airbnb, they give you a free push bike which you can ride around the rice fields, and you can ride it to the beach, so that's really nice. It looks like a really nice place that I'm staying at actually. They give you fresh fruit every day in your room and water. It's got really good reviews on Airbnb, so I'm looking forward to that. I've really enjoyed staying where I'm at now, mind you. It's been very comfortable. Had my room cleaned today. The staff are really, really nice and friendly. Get it cleaned once a week, so that's nice. And it's a really great location, I have to say. Right in the middle of all the restaurants and bars and shops and everything. Really close to the beach. Yeah, when I was talking to Mike, I met him about a week ago, and I've seen him a couple of times out and about. I just see him as I walk around the neighbourhood. But a couple of days ago I was out walking, and he was with an Italian friend who he had just met, who has since gone to Thailand after being here. So he's Italian, but Italian who has lived, he's from Lake Como, but he's lived in Vietnam for 20 odd years. And sorry, not Vietnam, Los Angeles. He's lived in Los Angeles for 20 years, and he has just come to Vietnam for the first time. So he'd only been in Da Nang for maybe 2 weeks. And it was interesting because he was very negative about Da Nang. You know, he said that he was disappointed in it. He thought some of the locals had been rude. And I don't know, he was making some complaint about how it didn't look very nice around the airport. And you know, what cities are nice around airports? I mean, there's usually like wasteland around all airports. You know, Atlanta airport, it's a pretty dodgy area, let's face it. And so is Los Angeles for that matter. But anyway, he was just very, very sort of like a bit negative. But it turned out he was like a very sort of hyper person. He wasn't at all chilled out, relaxed. He was like very much like a mile a minute. He'd rented a motorbike, and it was a really powerful motorbike, so he was riding around everywhere really fast. So Mike and I were talking about that, and we said, you know, probably he's getting like bad vibes from the locals because he's not sort of like chilling out and living a relaxed lifestyle as people tend to do here. It's not a mile a minute place, and the Vietnamese do not drive fast on the roads. So I don't know. I mean, I love it here, and most people that I've met absolutely love it here. But you have to sort of like, you know, moderate your expectations to where you're living. And if you want to live in a faster paced city, then, you know, go to Ho Chi Minh City or go to Bangkok. That's kind of not what this place is like. It's a beach city, and as a result, it's kind of you know, a slower pace. Which is nice. And if you want it to be a faster pace, you can be. I mean, there's places where you can go out at night here. And of course over in the city, it's a totally different vibe, it's much busier. But anyway, I just don't think that this Italian-American guy, has a very good attitude so far. He needs to give it more time, and you certainly can't make a judgment about a place after only being there for 2 weeks. So, anyway, horses for courses. It's not for everybody here. All right, everyone. Love to all, and I'll be in touch again soon.